Welcome to Soul-Led Creative Women, the podcast for heart-centered creative women who are ready to reclaim their spark and live with deeper meaning, authenticity, and soul. What if your yearning for more wasn't a problem, but a sacred invitation? This episode explores the quiet but powerful inner journey of soul-led expansion and reveals how creativity becomes a guiding force along the way. In this episode, you'll discover why creativity is essential to your personal growth and healing, how to move through fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism using creative rituals, and what it means to return to your true self through intentional expression and soul-aligned practices. So I think there comes a moment in every soul-led journey when the world that you've built begins to feel too small. And it's not because your life is wrong, it's just because you've outgrown it. The relationships, roles, and routines that once upon a time felt really anchoring and provided a sense of safety now feel like a little bit restrictive. The life that once brought comfort starts to echo with a quiet, persistent ache. You know, familiar patterns, relationships, crutches that you might have that no longer fit, and they no longer feel good, and they no longer serve you. And this is really the sacred threshold of expansion, and it almost always begins within. Expansion isn't always loud or dramatic. It doesn't necessarily have to be a giant leap. More often than not, it arrives really subtly, wrapped in a strange mix of restlessness and reverence. It may emerge as a longing, a whisper, or a steady inner nudge that something more authentic is calling you forward. And in this space, we're really invited to leave behind what we know and venture inward, into the unknown terrain of our inner world, into our deeper becoming. The inner journey is rarely linear. It's cyclical, spiraling, often confusing, and yet it holds the most profound rewards. When we expand from within, it's not about adding more to our lives, but coming home to what is most essential to us. Shedding all the layers of performance, people-pleasing, and perfectionism, letting go of outdated versions of ourselves that no longer align, and reclaiming the pieces we abandoned so that we could belong, so that we could please others, so that we could feel worthy. And one of the most powerful companions on this path, honestly, is creativity. And it's because creativity is the soul's native language. It's how the unseen becomes seen. It's how the felt becomes form. It's how the inner world finds safe passage in the outer world. Through paint, through poetry, through movement or melody, we express what can't be neatly articulated. We alchemize emotion into expression. We make the intangible tangible. And for many women, especially those who have spent years in roles of service, care, or even the corporate structure, creativity feels like a long lost friend, a forgotten aspect of yourself that's relegated to childhood or retirement. But deep within, it remains patiently waiting, not for permission, but for remembrance. To create is to say, I'm still here, I have something to say, I'm not just what I produce or how much I achieve or who I please. I am a living, breathing expression of soul. And creativity reawakens our connection to our intuition. It slows the nervous system. It brings us into the present moment. It gives us access to the parts of ourselves that are too often drowned out by noise, deadlines, and demands. It becomes a sanctuary, a sacred ritual, a mirror. And through this mirror, we begin to see ourselves more clearly. As we create, we are asked to face the very things that stand in the way of expansion. Fear of being seen, self-doubt, comparison, perfectionism, shame. These inner barriers are not signs that we are broken, but invitations for healing. Creativity, when approached gently, has the power to metabolize these fears, to soften them with color, shape, and story. And over time, it becomes easier and easier to lean into this space. Even when no one else sees what we make, the process itself transforms us, because it's never really about the finished product. It's about the courage to show up, the willingness to be ourselves, to trust the flow, and to follow the inner thread even when it makes no logical sense. This is the territory of soul-led expansion. It is rich with paradox. We find clarity through confusion, strength through softness. We embrace the messy middle. We find freedom through boundaries. And we realize that to expand is not to escape who we are, but to deepen into our truth, to integrate rather than to abandon, and to allow space for both grief and joy, mystery and meaning. And creativity really supports this integration. It teaches us how to listen, how to wait, how to respond instead of react. It reminds us that beauty exists even in the mess, that we don't have to have it all figured out to begin. And most importantly, it connects us with our aliveness, our uniqueness. Because when we create from an authentic place, we feel it, we remember. We come home to the parts of us that once danced freely, spoke boldly, loved deeply. We remember what it feels like to be in flow with the soul. And it's not a luxury, it's really a necessity, especially in a world that tries to pull us away from ourselves at every turn. Especially for women who have been conditioned to quiet their truth in order to be more palatable or productive. So your creativity is not frivolous, it's not extra, it is essential. And it's a bridge between your inner world and your outer expression. It is a practice of coming home, a practice of rerouting into your intuitive knowing, a way to process the grief of what no longer fits and celebrate the beauty of what is emerging. So as we finish this episode, I have an invitation for you to reflect. What part of you is longing to expand right now? What creative practice feels like medicine for your soul? Can you allow yourself to create without needing it to be perfect, simply as a way of listening to what lives beneath the surface? So let this be your invitation. Not to perform, but to play. Not to impress, but to express. Not to escape, but to expand. Let your creativity lead you through the dark. Let it hold your hand as you step across the threshold of who you have been and into the radiant fullness of who you are becoming. Your inner journey of expansion is sacred, and creativity is the compass that will guide you home. Take care. Hey, Sam here. Thanks so much for listening to the end. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Join my free soul-led creative community and gain access to free guides and resources, plus exclusive events and workshops, all from within the members area. This is your chance to connect with me and other like-minded souls. Please head to samhorton.co/community. Take care.